Alrighty, what is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. Welcome back. If you enjoy the content, smash the like button. I'm going to show you something new I was looking at right now that somebody told me about yesterday, and it's the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves. And this could give, so this is the first thing I'll talk about. Then I'll talk about why Bitcoin needs to hold. I believe it's 26.7. It's volume area low. We got to hold that if we want to strengthen the bullish case. Things are looking a little bit better now, but be careful. We are coming into the weekend. We'll see what happens come next week. We're going to look at E2, Bitcoin dominance, DXY, and the NASDAQ as well today. So stay tuned. But yeah, look. So we're getting into kind of this area to potentially come down, similar to kind of that pullback in 2019. History does similarly, repeat in some ways in this market. Came down there. Obviously, if you go back on these logarithmic curves, these two were the tops in these two bull runs. We didn't get to where we wanted to go. We didn't get to that 100K or that 150K that everybody wanted back here. We just rejected. We hit kind of the middle one. I mean, the middle one was not a bad place to get out around, 35 was pretty low, but I mean, over here it wasn't too bad, 53. I mean, if we don't make it up to this one, that would be tough to make it up there. 280, that's kind of absurd. That's high. I mean, you would be getting you'd be getting almost an 8x from where we are now. That's kind of, I'd like to say you could get that high. That would be nice, but I mean, more realistically, you're probably only going to get up to, 100 would be a good goal. And to 100, this kind of area, this line right here, that'd be a good goal in the next kind of bull run. I mean, 300%. Remember, Bitcoin has a $500 billion market cap, and if you don't know what market cap even means, look up what market cap means. You know what I mean? For that to get a 10x, a $5 trillion market cap, that's where you're toying gold there. You're toying gold. I don't know if we're there that quite yet. I mean, if we do get that high, the US dollar is going to really plummet. And your buying power, like, you may make a lot in Bitcoin in terms of US dollars, but your buying power is not going to be, it's not going to be 300 grand, I don't think. But we'll see. So ultimately, yeah, we're in that DCA period, kind of based on the 2-week here, I think. And if you, kind of circle it out, here, we're in that area. That's where I think the best place to kind of DCA in is really started over here December 5th. That was a good place to start. And then it started again February. This goes on until January. That's when I'm going to plan December, January. I'm planning on DCAing into Bitcoin and that's when I'm going to stop and hopefully get up to, at least, close to 100K. Start scaling out kind of at those areas. That's the long-term perspective right now, guys. So yeah. And now let's get into more of the short term. So right here on our lovely spiral chart with a lot of spiral lines on it, we're in that head and shoulders. We're still there. I mean, this area of it over here lasted a while. And if we circle let's just get a feel for how long this kind of lasted as you came up here. I circled that a little bit too wide, but let's kind of go like that. You could stay in this general zone until some next 10 days, potentially. You could come back up to the volume area high 29, potentially. You're reclaiming. So the reason why 26.7, where we are is so important is because you're trying to reclaim it. You got a double bounce off of or double bottom off of your 200 weekly moving average, which is coincide with this spiral line pocket right here. So that's the bullish case. The 16-hour, bull div, that's the bullish case. Daily gap to RSI is starting to curve back up again. Yeah, maybe it would strengthen your bullish case. And you got some potentially a bull div here as well forming on the, this is pretty soon on the daily, which could also bring you up. Now, that's the main bullish case. Also the 6-hour, that's kind of the bullish case too. But we got to hold this area. We got to hold 26.7, the area we're messing around with right now. If we don't, that gets more bearish, and then you'd get back to your technical targets, which are at this pocket around 24. And we all know that, I think you're eventually going to get down to these areas and liquidate all the people with, liquidation points, along with liquidations at high 24s. There's going to be a lot there. But we could absolutely maybe pump up to 28 or 29 before that happens. The market has a fun way of destroying everyone. Don't worry. But yeah, money flow coming up in the hourly. It does kind of seem like you could get up a little bit higher here. And then if we look at the 30-minute, this is what I kind of drew out earlier. Could get a bearish div on the 30-minute after you pump up just a little bit more, get out all the people, all the early shorters that tried to go short up here, get them out, get all those stop losses, liquidation points out up here at the low 27s. Then you come down for a nice short down to kind of that area. I think that could be possible. Also, if you take kind of a liberal, more like liberal technical target out of this like wedge or whatever, or reverse head and shoulders, yeah, 27-1, you know, around there. If this is like, I don't know, bull pennant, bull flag or whatever forming, it would be around there too, around kind of that area as well. So that's what I'm looking at right there, potentially that area. You're also forming another reverse head and shoulders, and this would probably give you the same exact kind of technical target if you do a head and shoulder, reverse head and shoulder technical target. Let's see here. Yeah, right. Okay, 27. Yeah, a bit above 27. So that's what we're looking at. You know, it's all game of probability, guys. You could come up a little bit higher there. I'm looking for this 30-minute bearish div for a potential short entry as we come up to that area. Did have a long entry off of this reverse head and shoulders over here. That did well. Hit my first take profit. I kind of got robbed, got stopped out in profit. That's what I do a lot. If you guys aren't familiar, I take my first profit, take 40, 50% out, something like that. Set my stop loss to my new entry point, and then it's kind of a risk-proof trade. Got stopped out in profit, kind of got robbed. Now we're coming back up. But in terms of the long trajectory, if you want to potentially, take a long or whatever, I mean, here's going to be your next big point for kind of a swing long. You could try it, yeah, double bottom coming up, stop loss below there, try to lock in profits there, and then get out and then wait till you get stopped out in profit when we eventually, I mean, I do think the odds are very likely we'd eventually, come back down to this area. Maybe you bounce around a little bit into beginning of June. I mean, the FOMC meeting is on June 14th, I believe. That could obviously bring the markets down. We'll see what happens there. I know inflation came out kind of hot today. It's looking more like, in terms of the odds, that the Fed's going to raise 25 basis points. So maybe that's the catalyst to kind of bring the market down or break out of this, general range we've been in between, 30K to 25K for the past March, April, May, past 2 months or so. So things do tend, for Bitcoin, it does tend to bounce around 2 months at a time. Sometimes 2 months in a sideways range, and then you break up or break down. Obviously, your technical target down from there is going to be, around 23, even 22, these kind of areas down there. So that's what you got to look at next. Macro is still very bearish with, I believe the 2 week is now confirmed, or it's now confirmed with the red dot. So that's what we have right there. Or no, it's not confirmed. It's not printing up here. Oh, I turned off market cipher A, excuse me. That's why. But printing right here, it's going to confirm in 9 days. So that's what we have to look at. And I think ultimately it's going to play out kind of similar to this guy over here. A nice trajectory downward. So potentially a double bottom, as we've seen in previous. That was a double bottom here. Even back here in January, there was a double bottom on Coinbase. It went down really far. It was almost too far on Coinbase. There was double bottom in that bear market as well. So that's what I'm looking at. If we look at ETH right here, in the short term, probably the same could be said. Maybe you come up, test kind of these areas, 1850 or something. I think that's a significant area to look to, potentially short. And the same thing here. If you get that bear div on the 30 at 1850, that could be a good scalp or day short or something. In terms of more of the macro here, ETH is still in the volume area range. This is the volume area low and a big fib level down there. Volume area high and a big fib level over here. Huge pocket that we could potentially retest for what could potentially be a fierce rejection into the beginning of June here if the bullish things play out. A lot of trigger waves right here. Your 16-hour has a lot of trigger waves. Daily kind of gapped RSI is starting to curve up, so you may get a bear. No, you won't get a bear div here, but on Bitcoin it'll be a bear div. So I think on the macro, ultimately still very bearish, but you could absolutely, come up back to test these areas maybe one last time. I mean, anything could happen, guys. I always know that. Read the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, one of the best books on trading. I mean, anything could happen, but we know most likely, you're probably going to come down similar to 2019, have that summer low coming soon. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at for ETH, potentially this area. If you wanted to long, the stop loss, maybe above this swing low over here. Try to get up to, I'd probably lock in profits at that 618 right there. I talk about this more in the Discord, stuff like that. Here's kind of the first stop loss. Here's kind of the second. Maybe you could hedge it, do one and one, or just do one down there. Never financial advice though, guys. All game of probability. So that's what I'm looking at for ETH. Bitcoin dominance, I think, is just a matter of time before this finally breaks upward out of this. It's going to happen when you see the next significant crypto pullback, probably when Bitcoin loses the 200, which I think it will, and comes down to 24K. And then you'll see this pump up to, it's in a Wyckoff accumulation too, pump up to kind of at least the mid 50s. It's just a matter of time, I think. Just be patient with it. Once it finally comes up and once your 2 week is in the red green here, what I'm going to be doing is starting to DCA into ETH once this comes into the DCA into Ethereum along with a bunch of other altcoins. DCA into altcoins is when this comes into the green. I think that's going to do very well. I mean, in terms of, that's more of a long game too. If you got time on your hands, I mean, the thing here is like you gotta this gets shot down quick to your May high. So, the earlier part of this would have been, probably when it does, July, August. I'm looking at potentially for the start, depending when this happens. Maybe it'll be September, August, and then ending it probably. I'm looking at an 8-month period, probably April of next year. But don't fret too much if you're a little bit late to the game. You know what I mean? So yeah. Let's move on to the NASDAQ right now. Hitting a big golden pocket here, drawn from up here down to here, that fib level. That's a huge place. That could absolutely be a top for the NASDAQ here. Keep in mind, guys, the NASDAQ typically, if we look at it here, it typically bottoms and tops a bit before Bitcoin. It topped out about a month, or this was the top right here, topped out about a month after Bitcoin topped out, at least a few weeks there, and then came crashing down with Bitcoin. And now Bitcoin topped out about a month ago. You're still having this rally. These RSIs are getting high in the weekly. I think we're almost there. I mean, maybe a little bit more. I'd be surprised if you could get up to 15. Oh my God, that's gonna be pretty wild. But I think you're gonna have a pullback pretty soon for this. Dixie as well. Kind of hasn't been even phased too much throughout this. It's still kind of coming up with everything, with traditional markets a bit here. So which is interesting. That's a lot of what we saw in the 1980s towards the end of the Dixie rally, I believe. But I do think markets are going to reflect it more, and this is going to come higher too, especially if the Fed raises, 25 basis points. I think you could get back to 115, 114, later this year into early next year. Whenever the big drop does happen, whenever the next big drop does happen, this is probably going to skyrocket upwards. I think so. That's what I'm looking at right there. In terms of altcoins, if we could look at Matic. They're getting a little bit of a jump right here, but I'm thinking maybe retest this area and then you're just going to come back down some more. So yeah, money flow looks like it could come deeper here on Matic. 10-day looks awful on Matic. So I think the altcoins, I think they're still going to bleed against Bitcoin. This could easily come back to 66 cents, maybe even lower here into the next few months. Say we're at 66 or 50 cents this area in August, September. That's the place where I'd be looking to maybe start DCing in. So that's what I'm looking at right now. By the way, guys, if you're interested in joining my exclusive Discord with some trade setups, entry points, take profits, link down below. Me and 2 other professional traders in there that are providing a lot of really, really good insight. I think it's going to help you guys out a lot. If you want 1 free month in the exclusive Discord, sign up to FAIRDESK or MEXC down below and deposit at least $200, and I'll give you 1 free month in the exclusive Discord. So yeah, guys, hope you have a great day. Hope you got something out of this video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.